Hello, hello, this is FearDreAm coming at you with another StarCraft 2 netcast. Today we have yet another Zerg versus Protoss. It's going to be game 2 between Minato and, of course, Dream. If you have not seen game number 1, please click on the annotation below. It'll take you to game number 1, so you can go ahead and check that out. It was a really awesome series. So if you're still around, I'm going to assume that you have seen game number 1, and we're going to go ahead and jump in and introduce the players as we spawn up here in the top right-hand corner of the map on top of the yellow Zerg player. It's going to be representing Team Navi, and that stands for Natas Vincere. It is going to be Natas Vincere's Minato. Do not be fooled by the FXO in front of his tag. And he is going to be facing off against the Protoss player spawned down here in the bottom left-hand corner as the teal player. He's going to be representing Team Dignitas, currently down 0-1 in this series. It is going to be DignitasDreAm. And Dream did fall to Navi's Minato's really awesome Roach and Zergling pressure after failing to do a bit of damage with his Warp Prism harassment. Really just allowed Minato to just build up too heavy of an economy, as well as have out a fairly scary number of Roaches and Zerglings, and unfortunately not getting off the force fields he needed. Was not able to actually get the defense up, and honestly, in the end, it looked like, you know, losing that third expansion, the Protoss player is just in such a difficult position that it's going to be too difficult to really do a whole lot. But what is this actually? Minato is going to be facing some very early pressure from his Protoss opponent, because, I mean, we can see over here that this gateway is fairly early. We even have two fairly early gas guys just going down, so this actually might be some kind of very fast one base Stargate play coming out of Dream. I'm really curious to see how this is going to shape up, because you know what? In the meanwhile, Minato just playing exactly the same way he did in that last game, going for that fairly regularly timed spawning pool, going for the hatchery immediately afterwards. And he's going to find out eventually with these the overlords, because I mean, there's only 2 spawning positions on this map. No need to send out that drone scout. And we'll have to see whether or not he actually immediately takes that gas geyser. That is going to be exactly what he needs to do if he wants to be able to deal with this early game harassment that's going to be coming up. And it's going to be pretty scary. And, you know, I say that I feel like it's going to be some sort of Stargate play or one base Stargate opening, just because generally you don't see 2 gas geysers being taken if a Protoss player is just going for a very fast 1 gate expand. Because, you know, you build up such a high gas count, and oh my god, it looks like actually with this probe rallied over here, the minerals building up, looks like he's going to be proving me wrong, wants to go for that very fast expansion, and actually just going to be using actually those 2 gas guys to get up a very fast mothership core. So I guess that does make a bit of sense. He's going to be able to do a nice little bit of harassment. Probably would like to see him just send it straight over to his opponent's mineral line or something like that to try and do a little bit of damage. Maybe just pick off a single drone and then retreat before the mothership, or before the queens can actually do too much damage. So we do actually end up seeing that upon scouting that there is in fact no natural expansion taken at a very fast time, as with a Forge expansion or even a gateway expansion. You can see that this gas geyser has been taken. Going to start mining, needs to get up that Zergling speed to deal with any kind of early gateway pressure that is going to be coming out of Dream. In the meanwhile, we do see a Stalker being made, and 2 Zerglings actually over in the main base of Dream. We'll have to see how much damage they do. They do try and go after that probe, but really nicely microed as Dream pulls back that probe and actually just 6 all of those remaining probes on those 2 Zerglings. Managed to take both of them out without losing a single probe, just losing a little bit of mining time, but nothing too huge. And for the most part, it's going to be a bit interesting. We do actually end up seeing that Stargate go down, so yes, Dream is going to be going for a little bit of Stargate harassment, and I'm really curious of where exactly is that Mothership Core. Mothership Core actually just sitting over here at the natural expansion. Now, I guess this does make a little bit of sense. He wants to make sure that the Mothership Core is in place to deal with any kind of 2 base all-ins that could be coming out of Minato. Does not want to have it completely out of position somewhere halfway across the map and just end up losing to a handful of Zerglings or Roaches. But, you know, he does actually have that Stalker and the Sentry out, so I'm curious if he's going to do a little bit of pressure with those. I don't actually see, you know, the Stalker really getting too aggressive. Oh my god, is the Stalker trapped in here? Oh my god, I think that actually might have been a bit of a misrally from Dream, so he might be a little bit on tilt from that game number 1. Might not be prepared for the fact that, hey, you know what? That Stalker's going to come out in the wrong position. That could actually be quite devastating if, in fact, you know, Minato decides to put on a lot of early game pressure. It looks like he's just going to be poking around with some of those early Zerglings. It's not going to be doing anything too crazy right now, although he is getting those 3rd and 4th gas guys pretty early, so he's going to be able to do a little bit of damage. But mainly right now, he needs actually to get up some Spore Crawlers. He actually has no idea what exactly his opponent is up to. He does have an Overlord in position to try and scout out that Stargate, but the first Oracle is already out and making its way over to his opponent's space. So we'll have to wait and see, is Minato going to be prepared? No, Spore Crawler is going down, so Minato is actually going to be relatively prepared for the Oracle harassment, but that's not enough. You do need to run those drones because an Oracle can still manage to get, 5 or 6 drone kills. It does not actually manage to pick off that 3rd expansion drone. No, doesn't quite get it. Unfortunately, that would have been a nice win, just delaying that 3rd for as long as possible. But with that drone actually scouting out that Oracle, the Queens are going to be getting ready to get into position. They want to try and deny as much of that Oracle harassment as possible. 2nd Oracle is also out on the map. No additional Oracle is going to be produced for now. And it looks like, Dream kind of realizes that his opponent knows what's going on. He's going to actually be just moving back and forth, looking to pick off creep tumors where he can. Actually even using the Revelation and using the 2nd Oracle to just pick off whatever creep tumors he can find. I actually love this play. Not something that you actually see too often from Protoss players right now. So that's going to be a good use of guaranteed damage from those Oracles, keeping all of those bases a bit further apart just by, I guess, validation of the fact that they don't really have the creep spread between them. And in the meanwhile, what exactly he's going to be up to right now? It looks like he has the robotics facility up, or is going to have it up very soon, with actually, it looks like +1 just now being researched. And he doesn't really have that many gateways, only just going to be now adding on a couple of those. So going to be a bit interesting to see how much damage he can actually manage to do over here, as he does actually have the Mothership Core sitting out on the other side of the map. It looks like he's going to go ahead and retreat. I'm curious if that was actually a bit of a mistake, or if he was actually intending to use that Mothership Core to maybe recall with the Oracles in case they got into a bit of an iffy situation. But for now, they're just going to go ahead and continue to harass. I don't think that they can actually take on no, they should actually be able to take on a single queen just by themselves, but they are fairly low in energy, and there is a 2nd queen backing up those 2 Oracles, so it looks like they are going to have to retreat quite a bit. In the meanwhile, a lot of Zerglings actually out on the map for Minato, but I mean, Minato really just getting a fairly good chance to drone up once again, but he's not really using it to drone right now. In fact, he's just using it to produce a ton and a ton of those Zerglings. So it's going to be a big set of aggression coming out from Minato. He does also have the Infestation Pit finished up and a Hive actually morphing in. But hold that thought. We actually have the Zerglings going in for a big surround on a ton of that Protoss army. The Sentries actually getting taken out. A substantial number of those Zealots also going down. The Zealots do have +1 weapons, so they are actually dealing quite a bit of damage to those Zerglings, but there's just too many. The Immortals go down. Pretty much every single big gas-intensive unit of the Protoss player does end up falling. So, wow, Dream, you're just laughing it off. And I assure you, he is not laughing it off in good humor right now. And especially if, oh my god, that would have been devastating if all those Zerglings were able to get past that Zealot. But it looks like the Zealot does manage to get in place in time. So it looks like he will be able to hold off these Zerglings for just a little bit. The Zealot's still ripping apart a ton of those Zerglings, but those Zerglings do have +1/+1, so I take it back. The +1 weapons actually not going to be enough to really two-shot those Zerglings. In fact, those Zerglings are just going to be doing so much damage, and the Colossus is going to be out. That's going to be a saving grace for Dream in this situation, but is it going to be enough? I'm just not sure. I mean, these 2 Oracles dealing some good damage, taking out a couple of those creep tumors once again, and, doing a fairly good job keeping them alive. One of those Oracles very low in health, but I am so worried for Dream right now, as there's just so many Zerglings out on the map right now. An Ultralisk Cavern on the way as well, so this is, it's kind of like the 1-2 punch, even though the 3rd has been up for a bit, it's not really droned up very heavily, and that's just because he's been transitioning into tech so quickly and be able to take out all of those gas-intensive units for Dream. There's no way he'll be able to reestablish a 3rd expansion, and that is going to be absolutely devastating for Dream. Dream has to get up a very heavy number of Colossus and then find some way to deal with the fact that there are 4 Ultralisks out, or going to be out on the map very soon, with +2/+2 finished up, +3/+3 actually already researching alongside Kindness plating. So going to be such a scary push. I mean, I feel like Dream has no choice. He is basically going to have to just back up over into his main base and just try and get up a very scary army, mix in some Immortals. and try and just go for some kind of big 2 bays of push. And, you know, I've seen it done. I've seen Zerg players play just a tiny bit too greedy, even after getting into a very good economic position, managed to take out a ton of the Protoss army, but the Protoss just kind of turtles in on those 2 bases and managed to get up that big Death Roll army. Zerg player playing a little bit too greedy with tech or a little bit too greedy with drones and does not manage to actually hold against the Protoss army. I think that's his best bet, but the Ultras are in fact out, and the Protoss army is out of position. They cannot retreat back to the safety of the main base. The Zerg's going to be getting in, getting a nice round over on those Zealots. The Zealots trying to hold off away from those Ultralists, but it's not going to matter. The Ultralists just tearing through. Only the Colossus really remain. One of the Colossus already really goes down, and only a single Zealot actually over at this choke to try and defend those 2 Colossus. The Ultra's easily going to be able to pick apart all of those pylons over there. And I mean, there's no anti-air over here from these 2 Oracles, so that's going to be a nice little win for Dream, but is it going to be enough? I think the Oracles are going to take quite a bit of time to actually take out these Ultras, because you have to remember these Oracles do 25 damage to light, but only 15 damage to non-light units. And let me tell you something, Ultralists, I mean, just look at the armor on their back. Look at all those spines. You know that when something has spines, that means they have a ton of armor. That means they're basically wearing like a bulletproof vest. I mean, I'm kind of surprised that we don't see normal police forces or even combat shields actually have a bunch of spikes coming out of them, because that really just goes to show that it's armored. But, you know, at the same time, the third is trying to go up from Dream. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to defend this. A handful of Zerg is going to continue to target fire down that third expansion, while the Ultra is actually able to go after those Colossus. The Colossus is actually not in the right position to move down alongside that cliff, and do end up getting taken out. And with that being said, NC, I'm not sure what that stands for, but GG comes out for DignitasDreAm, and FXO's Minato, and actually really not FXO. He's in fact on team NaViMinato. Does manage to take game number 2 in this best of 3 series mini. He's taking the series 2-0, gonna be advancing on to the semifinals, so congratulations to him. Even gonna stick around in the game for just a little bit as he kind of just wafts in his victory and really just enjoy that. So congratulations again to him. Again, for those of you who do not know, this is from the ZOTAC Cup EU number 159. So that's where I'm getting all these replays from. I'm going to be covering the semifinals next, so please be on the lookout for those games coming up over sometime in the next couple of days. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. My name has been Fear Dragon. Hopefully you guys enjoy my commentary in any capacity whatsoever. In which case, please go ahead and follow me or subscribe to me on YouTube. I also have a Twitch TV channel where I do live commentaries. That's over at twitch.tv/FearDragon64. Also go ahead and give a follow to twitch.tv/URGaming, because I do some commentary for them as well. I haven't really been doing it for the past 2 or 3 weeks, just because I've been very, very busy between moving, school, etc. You guys heard the whole spiel in the last cast, but I will be getting back into that sometime, I believe, next week. So definitely be on the lookout for that. And of course, it's a great league. It actually features a lot of players from slightly smaller teams, such as Team.SCA, Team UR Gaming, of course, since it is the URTL, the underrated team league, as well as some other teams. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I also have a Twitter. You can follow me over on twitter.com/FearDragon64, and that is pretty much the end of the cast. You can, oh, sorry, one last thing. If you have any casting inquiries, you want me to cast your show matches, you want me to cast your games that you played against your friend, and you think it would be super awesome, so you want to send that my way, please send that over to feardragon64@gmail.com. I'd be happy to talk to you guys about that, or even just cast any games that you just happen to attach in the emails. So thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I will see you guys next time.